Okay, what is up, IF Warriors? So it's been pretty crazy since May 20th because this new study came out where it is literally the antithesis of all studies that have come out previous to for intermittent fasting in regards to losing weight, burning body fat, and also the assisting in the type 2 diabetes in helping correct it, helping with the side effects. I literally just published a video on Sunday about it helping with the side effects of diabetic retinopathy, where it can prevent you from going blind from being a diabetic. A lot of diabetics can be prone to diabetic retinopathy. So the study that I spoke about on Sunday was how intermittent fasting assists in preventing that. But now this new study, and this new study is coming from the European Society of Endocrinology. They had an annual meeting, but in this annual meeting, something very interesting happened. And to be a true intermittent fasting channel, to be a true intermittent fasting community, we have to be open to all dialogue. We have to be open to those that show the limitations. We have to be open to, for example, blood sugar sometimes goes erratic with intermittent fasting, and that's something that we have to discuss, which is what I discussed in one of my videos about raised blood sugar. But this one is extremely interesting because this study in particular is basically the antithesis of everything that intermittent fasting has done in studies before. And the problem that this study presents to the table is that intermittent fasting, not only can it increase the risk of type 2 diabetes, which is crazy to me that this even presented itself that way, but it also can increase fatty tissue in your stomach. This literally goes against everything of all the other studies from before. Now we have to understand that this is just one study, but the more important thing that we have to understand right now, and you're probably wondering, why isn't Edward doing a full-blown normal video production for this with the white background and all the animation and all that stuff with, you know, with bullet points and everything structured? Why is he doing a talking session? And the reason I'm doing a talking session is because this video will eventually need a part 2. And why does it need a part 2? Because the study is unpublished. The study exists, but we cannot go on the backs of what they said during the annual European Society of Endocrinology meeting. And that is simply because the abstract that was given was literally one of the most vague abstracts that I have ever seen. And if I could find that abstract, we don't even know what they did. We don't even know. I'm looking for it right now. I know this is kind of all over the place, but we don't know how they fed them. We don't know what type of macronutrient they received. We don't know what type of intermittent fasting protocol they did. They say they did alternate day fasting, but we know what happens when they do alternate day fasting. They don't really do intermittent fasting. So we don't know exactly what they did. So okay, so intermittent fasting for 3 months decreases pancreatic islet mass and increases insulin resistance in Wistar rats. This is from the University of Sao Paulo from Brazil, Sao Paulo, Brazil. And Ana Claudia Munhoz Bonassa is the person who is running this, also with Angelo Rafael Carpinelli. In the introduction, it says, it is known that fasting causes several psychological changes in the endocrine pancreas, such as insulin secretion, pancreatic islet metabolism, and beta cells redox state. However, there is still no consensus about the effects of intermittent fasting, IF, a fad diet widespread by the media and adopted by individuals seeking rapid weight loss. Now, that's in the abstract, right? That is extremely concerning. A fad diet widespread by the media and adopted by individuals seeking rapid weight loss. That is the most dismissive line I've ever seen in my entire life on an abstract. And this is on an abstract that should be peer reviewed, hopefully soon, but isn't yet. So no other scientist, medical physician, or anyone for that matter can review this study that they did. It's like, we did a study and these are the results. Bye. Like, Oh, can we see it? No, you can't see it yet. So hopefully they publish it soon so that we could see it, but it is unpublished. So every media outlet, everybody who's trying to hit this thing, they're hitting you with the headlines. New study shows that research shows that this is increasing type 2 diabetes. New study, new. So everyone's like, oh my God. People don't actually go in to try to find the study. I always try. I don't even care what they say. Like, I don't even care what the article says. The article says it could be good, it could be bad. I literally don't care. I like to go into the study and I like to look at the study itself. I read the abstract, of course, first, then I dive into the full study, because the abstract's not going to give you like every single limitation that they had. So you dive in, you find out what they had, what was the limitations, what's the reason for this, what could be the reasons for these things, and then that's when you can put together a summary, a legitimate summary for the effects of that specific study. But what's interesting to me is that in the abstract, it literally, in the introduction, it says a fad diet widespread by the media and adopted by individuals seeking rapid weight loss. I don't know about you guys, but that to me seems extremely biased. I would say that it feels as if they want this study to not succeed. And of course, every single company that hates this thing and every single study that comes out in favor of intermittent fasting, they're going to harp on, they're going to jump on this as quickly as possible. They don't even care if they can't link you to the study because it's unpublished. They're just going to say these people said this and this is the new thing, and you know that's going to be all the way at the bottom that you can't actually, you can't. If you notice, if you go to any of those articles, they're supposed to link you to the actual resource or mention where the resource is located. They can't because the study is unpublished. So moving on, it isn't even broken down into male and female. It is only using females. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to males, when it comes to females, when it comes to intermittent fasting, there are some hormonal differences that come between the two. To get a more accurate breakdown of what intermittent fasting is doing to the general population, you should get both male and female. It's not that it doesn't work for females as well as males, but there is certain things because females have they reproduce, they have all these other things that happen. They go through their periods every month and stuff like that, their menstrual cycles, those kind of things. They're more susceptible for, if you wanted something to fail, or if you wanted the study not to do as well or have the best numbers, then if you just make it all females, that's going to skew the charts on the general population. Now, some females can deal with intermittent fasting better than others. When it comes to females and intermittent fasting, I definitely would want you to, understand what's going on with your body. If certain abnormalities are happening, of course, refrain from doing it. See what happens. If it adjusts, then maybe you would have to, get off the method, unfortunately. But yes, there are certain hormonal things that are off. I wouldn't want them to just use males. For them to simply just use one sex in females, that is extremely concerning to me. It's almost like they're doing this with the hope to get the results that they got. So it was 3 months of IF. During this time, the body weight and food intake were recorded. So the food intake was recorded, but we don't know what they ate. And the body weight was recorded, but they did not give us the actual weight increase or anything like that. After the treatment, the animals were killed. And the pancreatic islets, the white adipose tissue, the longest muscle tissue, and liver were collected for different analysis. So basically, they went ahead and killed the rats, which is horrible, but they did it so that they can get all of this information in regards to the liver, the muscle tissue, white adipose tissue. So they took white adipose tissue. I guess they didn't take the brown adipose tissue, which is the fat-burning fat tissue. No agenda there, I guess. So let's go to the results. The results show that IF decreased body weight and food intake. It shows that the body weight went down. They don't want to mention what type, how much the body weight went down. They don't want to say that, but they do confirm that it did go down, and the food intake also went down. The stomach was greatly increased in size, though. They're saying the stomach was increased in size. there was an increase in adipose tissue and a decrease in muscle tissue. IF caused elevation in plasmatic insulin levels, both baseline and after glucose administration. In vitro, IF pancreatic islet had increased insulin secretion, so insulin went up, glucose metabolism, and net reactive oxygen species production, while decreased their mass. In addition, impairment in AKT was observed in peripheral tissues, indicating insulin resistance. So they didn't see that it had insulin resistance. They saw the AKT, and the phosphorylation was observed. So this can indicate that there's insulin resistance, but they didn't check to see if there was insulin resistance. And AKT plays a key role in multiple cellular processes, such as glucose, adipose tissue, metabolism, all those kind of things. But like I said, they didn't actually test the insulin sensitivity versus the insulin resistance itself. They just saw that the AKT had a phosphorylation that was observed in the peripheral tissues that can indicate insulin resistance. So this thing is all over the place. I've already seen limitations via the abstract itself, and the abstract is extremely limiting in terms of what's the actual information. Usually abstract is a really good summary of the entire breakdown of the study, because they'll actually put exactly the weight or exactly the decrease or different things in variations, and you'll see it in the abstract. But here it's just like you can see an opinionated facet thrown into the abstract, and it calling it a fad diet. They're supposed to do this with no bias at all. They're not supposed to say, oh, this is a fad diet. They're supposed to just literally say, okay, we want to know if how true this is right here. That's what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to say, this is a fad diet widespread by the media and adopted by individuals seeking rapid weight loss. That's a ridiculous thing to put in your abstract. Just that it's just kind of concerning that they're doing studies like this and they put that in their abstract. And for them to just use female, that's not a general population. They should mix both male and female. Okay, so the discussion that they have here after the results from the abstract is that previous studies showed an increase in orexigenic neurotransmitters production in IF, inducing hunger and hyperphagia in the ad libitum feeding days. Our experiments demonstrate that, despite the weight loss, IF treatment induces undesirable effects on the tissue's hematosis. Therefore, the hyperinsulinemia registered in vivo and in vitro associated with the impairment of glucose tolerance and the decrease in the AKT, which I already told you what that is, phosphorylation, make clear that the occurrence of, you should never say it made clear from a study of a sample of 30 rats of one specific sex. You should say that it suggests. But this is like, goodbye intermittent fasting. This is what they're trying to do. This is what they're trying to say. Like, goodbye intermittent fasting. This makes clear the occurrence of peripheral insulin resistance. It makes it clear as day. The increase in metabolism of pancreatic islets dispersed cells after IF treatment endorses the higher insulin secretion. Furthermore, the decrease in the pancreatic islet mass indicates that 3 months of IF treatment caused severe impairment in glucose hematosis, and glucose homeostasis. In conclusion, intermittent fasting diet may not be healthy to adopt by individuals seeking rapid weight loss. Okay, first of all, intermittent fasting helps with rapid fat loss. No one's talking about rapid weight loss, and I've gone in extensive breakdown of that. Many times I've explained that what you're looking for is not weight to be lost. What you're looking for is for your body fat to be lost. Now they're stating that there was fat tissue increase. However, they did not even pull from the brown adipose tissue. Why? Why not do that? If you're gonna kill the rat and you're gonna take all this information, why would you only look at the increase in white adipose tissue? What if there is an increase also in brown adipose tissue, which is primed and ready for fat burning? Why not look at that? The fact that they just grab white adipose tissue, I guess they want to see, the increase in the white adipose tissue to state, oh, look, this is, the increase in body fat. But if you're doing intermittent fasting and you're feeding them more than they're supposed to eat per day, caloric surplus, they're in a caloric surplus, they're going to gain body fat. That's why we need to dive deep into the study. Were they at a caloric maintenance? Were they at a caloric surplus? Did the muscle tissues decrease? Were they even doing physical activity? Or were they just caged and they couldn't do anything, and then they could only eat and not eat, drink water, eat, not eat, drink water? Like what's the details of this study? So right off the abstract, I've already seen multiple limitations. Right off the abstract, I could already sense a feeling of bias, which is horrible because almost every single time I read an abstract, I sense no feeling of bias. Even if they say intermittent fasting isn't good for this or isn't good for that, even when they're saying studies against intermittent fasting, I still don't sense bias. This is probably one of the only abstracts where I can read it and I'm like, what? This is sketchy. Anyways, it is unpublished either way, so we can't even break this down correctly because it doesn't exist to the public eye. It can't be peer reviewed by other scientists, by other medical physicians, by other medical experts. They can't look into it yet because it doesn't exist to look into, and it is extremely contradicting to most of the studies that exist out there, to even practices done by people like Dr. Jason Fung, where he has assisted people in reversing, type 2 diabetes using intermittent fasting. So should we sound the alarm? No, definitely not. It is extremely interesting that this came out, and it kind of shakes up intermittent fasting a little bit, puts it more in the limelight. Granted, not in a positive state, but I feel that once people start to grab hold of this and start to actually break it down and have no agendas as to why they're trying to put this out there, I think that we're going to see more people say, wait a second, there's a lot of flaws here. From the abstract alone, I already can find multiple flaws. But we have to see the studies. We have to actually see the full study. And even if this study is pay to view, trust me, I will purchase this study and I will literally go line by line, take my notes, compile a legitimate summary, and then make a video. So this is a part 2. This one is the discussion one. Then the next video, when they finally release the study, which I don't know why it's unpublished yet, if it's already completed and they've already written it, why haven't they published it? I don't understand. They just spoke about it at the European Society of Endocrinology event. That's it, the annual meeting. That's all they did. Hopefully it's out soon. Once it's out, trust me, it's gonna take me some time because I have to actually go into it. I literally did all of this in real time just right now. Went right in there, started looking at it, started reading it. But I will do a structural video based off of this study to break it down further, to understand what's going on. Because give me a break. If you do intermittent fasting, that's not the be all end all. You can't just do intermittent fasting. You have to do intermittent fasting. You have to also be at least at a caloric maintenance or some type of a caloric deficit. Because if you're at a caloric surplus and you're doing intermittent fasting, you're gonna gain fat. That's just gonna automatically happen. If you're not moving, if you're not doing anything, if you're caged and you don't have anything to do physical activity, you're going to lose muscle. Human growth hormone increase can only do so much. If you're not stimulating your muscle, you're not gonna grow muscle magically, or you're not gonna just protect muscle magically. You have to still stimulate your body to let it know that you need to hold on to your muscles. It will assist you, but it's not like people want it to be this magical thing where it's like, no, it will completely create a solid shield over your muscles. But if you're not doing anything to tell your body that you want to keep your muscles, if you're not sending those signals to your body, and you send those signals by doing resistance training or calisthenics or whatever it is, just providing resistance, providing strain on your muscles, if you're not doing that, then how do you expect your body to hold on to muscles, regardless if you're doing intermittent fasting? It's the same thing if you was to take performance enhancers and you were to go ahead and do that, it should increase your muscles, right? But if you don't work out at all, nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen, regardless of the fact that you have performance enhancers. And that's the same thing with intermittent fasting. Like, if you don't do anything, it's not going to protect something that you're not working towards protecting by stimulating that in your body. So we got to find out more about this study. Throwing your arms up in the air for a study that just came out. One study that already has a bunch of limitations that hasn't even really came out yet is a little premature. Let's wait till the study comes out. Let's see what they did. Let's see if they gave them a caloric surplus. And I hope that they put the breakdown in there, because I already see that they're not really detailed when it comes to their abstract. So anyways, I had to make this video because I got so many questions regarding this information here, and I needed to tackle this because a lot of media outlets are just running with this. They're salivating. They love this kind of stuff, especially those that have, like, certain agendas to get us off of doing intermittent fasting. So hopefully this video was very informative for you guys, and I want to thank my patrons from my Patreon, because you guys are so freaking awesome, and I'm gonna put your names right up here. And of course, guys, as always, I will see you on Sunday for another FAQ. Peace!